Gary Morrison, co-founder, Battle River Brewing in Toms River, New Jersey.
Awesome. So I've actually I've been by your guys' place. I'm originally from Philadelphia and stuff like that. So I've worked the Jersey market with a couple different brands. I've been out there. So what give me a little rundown. We don't focus too much on products, but I want to focus on your portfolio mix and brewing. Kind of give me a mix of the environment and atmosphere at your place.
Yeah, so we are a 7 hectoliter brew house. We have 5 7-barrel fermenters and 2 14-barrel fermenters. We typically have about 25 beers on tap at any one time. So we like to give variety. So we think that we're the local hangout. We want an environment where people can get together, have good drinks, have good conversation, and just have a good experience.
Yeah, super casual and fun spot you have. I've been there before, and I want to what as far as styles of beer and stuff like that, do you guys lean any different way, or do you guys go really wide in the portfolio?
Yeah, we go really wide in the portfolio. I think that comes from myself and my co-founder. We typically weren't the brewers that got into the business, right? So typically when a brewery opens, it's mostly home brewers. They take that next step, they open a brewery, and they have their defined style and likes. We are more consumers and business people. So we wanted to make sure that there was, so to say, a seat for every ass, right? So you come in here, typically when people come into breweries for the first time, it's like, I'm not typically a beer drinker. And then, you have the tasting and they find that their palate does gravitate towards a specific style. So we want to make sure that we're giving, consumers a variety, and we're giving them choice, and we're giving them an experience to taste everything.
Are you sold on the shelf as well in wholesale, or are you just on site?
No, we are on the shelf at wholesale as well as bars. Jersey Shore, you're from Philly. We have a pretty busy summer season here.
Yeah.
So we do service a lot of the local bars, but and then we're in quite a few retail outlets as well.
How's that business doing for you in New Jersey? I know every state's different, but I mean, is New Jersey still climbing stuff as well, or is it having little steps and starts on pullbacks and stuff?
Yeah, so New Jersey's pretty restrictive on brewery licenses because of the full liquor license. New Jersey's just a fragmented market, right, when it comes to liquor laws. So we started with an uphill battle. There was some relief during COVID. There were some things that were positive for the industry, but they reverted back, and then they had some final legislation over the last few years to ease some of the restrictions on entertainment and events in breweries. So, a couple steps forward, step back, couple steps forward, step back. But, my partner and I, we know that we have to operate in whatever legal environment that's thrown at us. So it's always about being agile and pivoting and making sure that you stay, ahead of the game there.
Absolutely. So you guys, is it still you can't have bands, or is it now? Is at least you can, and it's still hours, and then the food part too, or is it we have you have some of that?
Yeah. So some of the restrictions that are still in place are the lack of food, so we can't serve food, operate a kitchen, which is perfectly fine by me. We knew that going into it. I mean, that was in place when we started, and we strategically picked a location that we thought could mitigate some of those risks. Where they did help a little bit is the number of events, and when you say bands, that's part of events, but that's also inclusive of a trivia night, an open mic night, anything else that you would have entertainment wise in the brewery. So they did ease some of those event restrictions, and they upped it to a number now that makes sense for a business to operate.
What and this is not to like speak ill of the laws and legislators or anything like that, but what is the logic and intent behind separating those two? Like, I understand, like, we have stuff weird in Pennsylvania where you can't have THC and alcohol in the same place yet. We're fighting for that law right now this year. Like, what is some of their intention of I guess it's a safety, or what's the reasoning? Yeah.
I mean, the main reason's money and lobbying, right? So in New Jersey, full liquor licenses tend to get very expensive. So here in our town of Toms River, the most recent liquor license sold for $800,000. So the argument from liquor license holders is that a brewery license is much more inexpensive than their license. So they want to protect it the best they can. They've been an appreciating asset since I've been in the industry, and I've go back, not just brewery, but bar, restaurant industry for the last 25 years, right? So they're trying to protect their assets. So their lobby does a pretty good job at spending money. And obviously the brewer lobby is a lot smaller with less resources.
So it's the on-premise liquor license lobby that is protecting and stuff like that.
Correct. I mean, I can make all the arguments here.
No, we just
but that's the reason.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's I've had many conversations on here with people about different policies and things like that. One of those things where like, we'll stay in logic so neither of us get sued later.
Exactly.
So what? Tell me a little bit about your guys' story. You said you have some partners. How many of you guys are?
Yeah, so we have 3 main partners here. We knew each other, prior. We were, business partners in other small cafes, a gym, and we went out, watch football pretty much, weekly. And then we were at a local restaurant, and we found this beer that we really liked. It tapped. My partner asked for another one, and they were like, "Oh, that's it." And he's like, "Well, when are you getting it back?" And they're like, "Well, that's a one-off. That brewery's never making it again." And so, like, he texted me later that night, like late, and was like, "Man, I know we wanted to do something else, downtown Toms River. We wanted to help revitalize it. We were thinking about some concepts." And he's like, "Why don't we do a brewery when they're starting to revitalize a town? That seems like to be the central part of the real estate and revitalization." And these guys, I don't know, maybe we don't know what we're doing, but these guys, you make a beer, it's great. Don't you want more people to drink it? So that's how the concept was pretty much born.
Now, did you guys, any of you guys were homebrewers at any point, or you guys have to find somebody to do the brewing part?
No, we're just purely business people. So we found a brewer.
Let's go through a little bit about how all you guys met. Like, you guys were running cafes and stuff like that. Were you just business people that were acquaintances in the professional world? Or did you guys grow up together in Jersey? I mean, did you guys knew each other prior, like as kids, or what?
No, so we met working out at a gym.
Okay.
And then we kind of hit it off. And then we continued to work out more and more, hang out more and more. And that's kind of how it flourished.
How about like getting a little deeper, like is your relationship, you guys still get time to hang out as friends, or is it all business now?
No, we still get some time. We try to make Thursday night football kind of the time, so still time for friendship.
How about what line of, let me go back to, I'm going to love this because I haven't asked this to anybody in New Jersey yet. 18, 19 years old. What's Gary doing? And did he ever imagine owning a brewery?
So yeah, no, did never imagine owning a brewery. So 18, 19 years old, I was actually bartending on the Jersey Shore. So, nightclubs.
Which one were you at? Because 18, 19, I was drinking at those shore.
So, I mean, if you can think about Bermuda Club, Club Excess, Temptations, all on the Jersey Shore, hanging out there.
Oh, shit. So you probably served me about 20, 30 beers in a weekend.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, breweries back, 18, 19, weren't really a thing here in New Jersey. I mean, I think Sierra Nevada was really the first, one that really popped up on the radar on the East Coast. And, that was, probably a pipe dream for anyone, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I during that time, when I was 19, I was working at a Wrigley beverage over in Philadelphia. Yep. And then they had that relationship with Kramer. So every once in a while, I worked in New Jersey. And then I went out and worked in New Jersey representing with, what was that brand? Windred Cider. Yeah. So I think I'm looking at your back wall and stuff like that, and your painting, your structure. I think I actually went in there with a rep one time with Windred Cider to sell the cider in there or something like that. I can't remember that. I forget her name.
We rehabbed the building, and there was no.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you guys are looking out and stuff like that, like, do you guys get to bring other brands in? Like, if there's anybody that's listening that's like, hey, I like this guy, I want to kind of work with him. Is it like Pennsylvania where you can bring other brands in, or now you guys just?
No. So in New Jersey, it's pure. It's purely our own brand. So anything that is served in the brew house, the tap house, the tap room in New Jersey has to be manufactured on site.
Okay.
So even if we outgrew our production and opened a production facility right next door, that can only be for sales to, retailers and on and off premise. So that's it.
So you guys, even with all the THC stuff, that has to stay strictly in the liquor stores. It can't be touched in the breweries. Like you guys can produce it, but you can't sell it or something, or what?
So we're trying to get some, legislation. I know obviously
Okay, cool.
you're leading that charge there as well.
Well, this is a great platform to talk about what you guys need support with. So yeah, what's what's the goal?
Yeah, so we have a co-packer in Pennsylvania, actually. We have formulations made, but New Jersey, as of April 16th, unless anything changes, I think it's nothing more than 2 milligrams per package can be sold. So
I was just there like 3 months ago.
yeah, it was probably 30 days ago. So they gave everybody a little bit of lead time to unload whatever was on their shelf. So even liquor stores cannot sell it without a CRC license.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much do those CRC licenses cost?
I don't even know. Some of our big liquor store partners. So if Tom's River in the Ocean County area, Spirits Unlimited, Buy Rights, some of those large liquor stores we have partnerships with, and they're looking to see what happens now. They seem to think that there's going to be some sort of stay until reasonable legislation comes in, but they're not ordering any THC products, any new THC products now. They're trying to unload, what inventory they have.
Wow. I'm just thinking about the planogram sets in those liquor stores. I mean, that is a significant dent to the planograms and the revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably upwards of 30 to 35% of their revenue now. And
yep. That's exactly the number. A couple of months ago, I personally went down and interviewed 100 different liquor store owners to get a market assessment report. And the average was 28 to 35% of their revenues. Yeah.
And growing probably quicker than any other category, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was just telling a story yesterday that I was in a place and one guy, when it changed and the last time, he was like, I'm done. I can't keep doing these changes and I can't do it. And he retired. He literally sold the business. I can't remember which place it was. It was real small, little bodega. And the other one, I had a couple that kind of broke down crying with me. And I don't mean that facetiously. I mean, literally, they were just like, I don't know what this means, And I don't understand. And I will speak logically about this. I don't understand sometimes, and I guess it's kind of weird to talk about politicians looking at data, but they use data so well for certain things. And if you look at the data of New Jersey and other places where these things feed each other's ecosystems properly, and it's not like the thing is, if they were to go and say, oh, we don't want it at all because it's not safe for children, like that I understand because that's overreach, but also that's an ideology. We don't argue with that.
Right.
This is different. Like suppression down to like a minuscule dosage, and I'm not talking we need to have 1,000 milligram bottles on the shelf. I've seen in New Jersey that was a little bar that one time. I saw a thin bottle that was 1,000 milligrams behind the bar, and I was like, all right, behind the counter. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's really uncomfortable for a business community, and I know I'm speaking to the choir with you, that they can't just look at that data and look at the overall economical impact and realize, okay, it's not about child safety, it's about actual impact, it's about permits, and it's about getting the permitting fee and the taxation through. If you really wanted the taxation and you weren't looking at the short-term fix of that permit fee, you'd see that the better taxation opportunity is to let it thrive and put a little bit of a better cap on it so you can have some variety and some varying doses for different people.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, right? I mean, this legislation, like you said, I mean, it's limiting in certain sectors. So liquor stores can't sell it, but dispensaries can.
Yeah.
Right. So I would think that liquor stores have the infrastructure and the whole liquor industry has the infrastructure to support, the legislation to make it not only sensible, but make sure it's in compliance, right? Who does a better job of making sure people are over 21? They have, the wherewithal and the want to make sure that they comply because their license is at stake.
Yeah, it's one of those things that there's two things that I want to say about. I want to compliment the recreational marijuana industry at all checkpoints. But the checkpoints are all about where the product comes, where it's come from, what it's made. There's a whole different thing that I think lawmakers miss. I think the dispensary. I'm going to speak about the dispensary market mainly because I just did an article this morning about this, and I think I actually pissed off some people because I have some comments on my LinkedIn post that I got to get back to later and demystify some or demystify people. But my point is, the transparency inside of the dispensary market is one that is for the product. The difference that I think lawmakers need to understand is the transparency at the point of purchase. There's a different part of accountability at the point of purchase. And that accountability is really respected by liquor store owners and different things like that to make sure, and the bar owners and brewery owners like yourself, to make sure people aren't overserved, to make sure they're going in with the right intention, to make sure they're going to making the right experience, and they're being a civil part of society. And I think that it's not to bash the dispensary. The number one thing we talk about here is that people are different and the consumer is different. I think people don't realize is that dispensaries fighting for this, and I say it just because I personally am living in Pennsylvania. The lobbyists that are fighting my bill are our own industry. It's not the alcohol industry. I'm not fighting against Anheuser-Busch and Miller Coors. Like, I literally have them in my back pocket in partnership with me. And one of the things that's amazing is every other state, the data shows that it dies in the dispensary. And because the soccer moms and the dad that just experimenting and he just quit drinking, he doesn't want to go to a buzzed-in thing and feel like he's getting patted down for a security thing to go buy a product. He wants to access it just like he used to, his martinis and his IPAs.
Agreed.
Let's talk a little bit about your guys' story too. Like, what line of work were you guys in before? You said some cafes, so were you guys in all hospitality and stuff for this, or kind of a little variety of industries?
Kind of variety. So my partner had a marketing company, and I'm with a company provides data intelligence. I'm still there. So he's now the full-time operating partner of the brewery. I still have my regular job, if you want to call it that, right? So, so a variety of industries, but we've always been in hospitality, throughout our lives. I mean, again, dating back, I started bartending at 17 years old, working in restaurants, working in bars. So I always had that in the background. He did the same as his younger self, right? And so it was just kind of a natural evolution. I mean, I love this industry. I love the service industry, bringing people together, allowing to have a curated experience, and just meeting people and the social aspect of it. So I think it was always something that we both thought we'd be back into it in some capacity. It was just what capacity did we want to be in?
What I was just while you were talking there, I scrolled my eyes across for your menu of the beer names, because that's another thing I was like talking about with breweries. So you guys went with the historical realm of things. Like, do you guys get some real history buffs coming in there to drink some beers?
So we do a little context for the listeners. Toms River is a really important area and site for the American Revolution. There's a lot of historical battles and strategic points here because of the location of the Toms River, the waterways that allowed provisions to be brought to troops, and the downtown area. I mean, our building was built in the early 1800s, so there's a lot of history here. So we try to play on that history, not only in the names of beers, but pretty much everything that we do here in the brand. If you saw Amityville Horror.
Okay, yeah.
The house was here. So there's some basis here.
When you guys got started, let's talk about, so 10, 15 years ago, there was like 10,000 people and their mom wanted to start a brewery. Do you get a lot of that now where guys are still coming in talking the dream and stuff like that? Or do you think the industry is really kind of starting to sift out who's a business owner and who's doing it as a hobby kind of thing?
Yeah, I think we still hear it, right? Like, oh man, this is my dream. I would love to do it. And then you start talking to them a little bit about it, and maybe that kind of gets tempered just a touch, right? I think because we weren't home brewers, maybe we were just not smart enough to understand that it's a very challenging industry, with very thin margins, and you have to be on top of things. So, again, we say maybe we're just too dumb to understand. But we did it, and we continue to evolve and adapt to the marketplace.
I look at it from I flip the lens on you. I said, you're not too dumb. You guys actually had just enough negative expectations that you were ready for the baseline.
Yeah, no, and I think it helps a lot because even when we're talking to our brewer, we give them a lot of creative, opportunity with our directive, but because we're business people, we don't mind failing. Like, let's try this. If it doesn't work, like, it's okay. Most brewers, that come up from being a home brewer to opening their brewery probably wouldn't. They'd probably stick to, what they know. So we give a little bit more flexibility in that. And so far it's worked out well.
Nice. What would you, what's kind of some advice you would give to somebody if they're really getting to the point where they're not just sitting out the place in the basement and actually putting pen to paper and starting a business plan? What's kind of the number one cautionary tale for them? Let's say specifically New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, specifically New Jersey, I would say whatever you think the regulations, taxation, double or triple it. I mean, the amount of paperwork that you have to do, the amount of regulations that change all the time and you have to be on top of changes, and it's onerous. It's really that you do need to understand the back office and administrative things a lot more than you do have to run the business. The running the business part, I think, if I can give them advice, if we learned it, my partner and I think anybody can. It's just that there are a lot of things that go along with it legislatively and administratively that really can drag you down.
Tell me a little bit about, have you guys, when you guys go to other states or anything like that, are there any things you see when you're looking at other breweries or other things you're like, I wish we had that thing over here, but you couldn't?
I mean, I think obviously Pennsylvania is close enough, but, where you can just do everything, right? Where you can have distilled products, you could have.
Actually, that's what they're passing. That's a bill. That's a legislation. So yeah, a brewery cannot produce just distilled spirits on the same site. So now they have. It's called the Fritz Bill, which we're helping them as well, because we have RTD spirits in our portfolio, and breweries are looking for outlets like yourself as well as revenue. So yeah, they can't produce co-packed distilled spirits. They can sell it over the bar, but they can't sell it to take it home. A canned cocktail
Really?
permit as well.
Yeah. So I mean, other states. I mean, I guess Pennsylvania with the new legislation, but other states where you have it all on one site and you can appeal to a broader market, right? So again, not everybody drinks beer, so you want a group of people, a group of friends, family to come in to a place where they can all enjoy it. So if there can be anything, it would be change the legislation where we can do more than just malt beverages on site.
It's funny too. Like it's also like it's a trust thing as well. It seems really immature for every legislator in every state that they don't just allow you, if you can produce one malt beverage. Now, cannabis and all that medical or recreational, medical, I get that. That's different. But when you're talking about hemp and you're talking about alcohol and you're talking about all these other things, if you trust somebody to produce beer at scale as a brewery, the fact that you're like, no, you cannot do distilled spirits. Like, but then another guy who's the same equivalent business can do spirits, but can't do brewery. I think it's amazing because we allow, not speaking ill of distributors, because I come from that world and I love them all. We allow distributors to consolidate and build their selves when things get bad. They consolidate. And that's what you do as a business owner. What I don't understand is why we can't, and I'm actually going down to DC to talk about this with some Congress people at the end of the month. And I don't understand how we can't condense categories like we allow businesses to condense in the wholesale tiers as well. And it's one of those things where they don't understand that like we can increase the entire ecosystem in the community if every single consumer can experience what they want when they're in there. So if somebody walks in, they can have their buddy can have an RTD canned cocktail, the other friend can have an IPA, and the other guy can have a 10 milligram hemp drink. Like that's the utopian world. And for some reason, it doesn't feel like a pipe dream if everybody would get their head out of their ass and realize that the world's changed. And then we need the old trickle down economics. You gotta let everything else change with it. So, and I'm not just picking on New Jersey. I'm broad stroking all these weird laws that exist. Even to one, I think it's away now, but I remember probably 15 years ago, I was on a trip down to Texas, and I ordered a beer at 9 a.m. in a layover on my way to San Diego. And the guy was like, "Well, it's Sunday," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'll take a beer." And he goes, "Sunday, you have a full meal before you have a beer."
I know. I mean,
it's just like, where are we? Like, what world do we live?
Utah has some of those same laws too, where you can't have a beer and a shot next to each other, right? So, like you said, I mean, legislation again, it's so fragmented, right? So, when you cross a border 3 miles away, things are so much different.
It is, and it's funny too. Like, and in the reverse, I'll make fun of Pennsylvania. Remember, like our old laws were on Sundays, you could always sell alcohol from 12 to 5 on
So my very first concert, I might have been like 15, had a couple buddies driving. We went to Philly for Lollapalooza, and it was a Sunday. And we learned a hard lesson that day because we tried to get we tried to get alcohol before the concert, and nobody would sell it.
That was my first foray into legislation. I think I was like 22 or something when we were doing that. Lobbying for that. Oh man. And I grew up in West Virginia, and they had a similar thing too. When my mom would, like, if she was going to get her wine on Sunday for the week, you couldn't buy it till 12 or 1 o'clock too. It was like nobody was allowed to drink alcohol during church hours.
It was driven by church.
Perfect. Well, tell me a little bit about, like, tell everybody kind of where they can find you. I know we talked about Tom's River and everything like that. Give them the website, give them the socials and everything like that, and kind of what kind of things you might have going on this year they can look forward to.
Yeah, so battleriverbrewing.com, and that's basically the socials as well, Battle River Brewing. Yeah, it's really unique down here at the brewery. So we strategically, chose the downtown location for a reason, and the township and our local business improvement district for downtown put on, especially during the summer months, every Friday and Saturday, they close the downtown area streets. So the local restaurants and some of our, businesses like the brewery and local distillery can have people sit on the street, enjoy their dinner, eat and drink out there. So that's something that's done. And then once a month, they do put on a large festival. Same thing down in downtown Tom's River. They get a whole bunch of vendors shut down the streets, and they have a party pretty much all day. If you're looking for us around the state, Ocean and Monmouth County, we're pretty concentrated in our on and off premise partners. But there are some, larger partners that, throughout the state, your Joe Canals, your wine outlets, those things.
A lot of if you guys want, if not, I'll cut it out. A lot of times people in this industry give distributors a bad name. Want to give any good shout to distributors out there and give some compliments on who you work with?
Yeah, so in New Jersey, we self-distribute.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we've talked about, but as you know, it's pretty consolidated here in New Jersey, and the legislation and laws are, once you're with a distributor, it's pretty hard to break that agreement. So we just want to make sure that as we grow, we penetrate our home market, grow out, and then if there comes a time to partner with a distributor, it's the right partnership and it makes sense for both sides.
It's the same that even when I was working in the distributor world as a brand manager, craft breweries would come in all the time, and they would be like, they wouldn't understand the process, and I worked with them from a very, like, a way of every part of understanding the practice, but I also encouraged them to activate self-distribution before going with a distributor. Even when I was a distributor, and especially now that I'm on the side of the brands, a lot of people don't understand in the alcohol world, when you sign those contracts, those distribution contracts and the perpetuity and the tide law, the 3-tier laws in France it's an evil thing that used to be a necessity, that now is something that just really constrains the growth of the category. Things that, and if you're going to enter a distributor and you want to tell everybody is starting up or expanding your states, I speak with a lot of clients. I meet different people every week, and the amount of time people rush in because they're so excited to get that distribution contract, sell those 12 pallets right off the shot, and get that cash in their bank. Don't realize 10, 15 years down the road, when that distributor changes or sells themselves, to somebody else, you're part of that asset that they're selling. And when you look at yourself as an asset, when you go into it and not a human, I try to advise everybody, because it allows you to defend yourself better. It allows yourself to take your emotions out and realize you're selling an asset to them, and they're going to have an asset they're going to sell. And you need to go into that contract accordingly, because once you sign that dotted line, that's it.
And
yeah, go ahead.
And the reality is that no one's going to build and grow your brand and sell your brand like yourself, right? Yeah. And your employees. They know about the product, they know about the brand, they know about the quality. If you rush into a distributor contract, like you said, you're just one part of a very big portfolio. And maybe you'll see the initial growth in the first couple months, and that's really exciting. What happens in months 7, 8, 9, when they have another 3 or 4, craft breweries come online during that time? They're getting paid by the big boys. So, again, it has to be right for both sides. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Grow your brand, do it right. And then, you can make a decision on the business, down the line.
And it also allows, and I'll speak positively, it allows for a common respect.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest things is if you're a brand that just sells your tractor trailer, half a tractor trailer out to a distributor, and you never spend time in the market, you never work with your distributor, you just live off of those checks, and then whatever amount of time it takes for your distributor to push your brand for you, it doesn't work anymore. And so I want everybody to understand, like, when you sell to a distributor, you're not just selling the tractor trailer, you also need to go with depletions out of things. And so one of the big things about self-distribution is you got to understand the depletions, and you got to understand the infrastructure. You got to understand what it's like to carry a keg down in a basement while the traffic flying by, and while you're looking out of your left eye because somebody's trying to rob your van of the other stuff you didn't want to have the keg in your hands. So I think those are the experience where it allows a common respect for each other and an understanding for what each other does. And then it eliminates a lot of that vagueness, because we hear a lot of distributor horror stories. But when you go through the onion layer of those stories, a lot of the times it's because expectations weren't set and accountability wasn't set. And, you didn't check in with your brand manager every month, which people are like, that's crazy. Yeah, you should. You should be talking to your brand manager every month. You should be talking to your accounts every month. You know what I mean? It's like, even if they're not buying it, you can give them a 30-second call and just say, hey, how's the brand doing? What are the other brands that are doing well? Because that's the biggest thing I want to tell every brand out there is we do not do enough competitive analysis. We are so focused on our own stuff that we don't see the opportunities in the other spaces on the shelf and anywhere on the draft lines. So
yeah, I mean, I think, you captured it perfectly there. And I think that's, why we made the decision, to self-distribute first. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes. We thought, okay, let's grow so fast, right? Like hit every county in New Jersey. We sent our guys out, and then we're
you shotgun the hell out of that approach.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're like, you look at the numbers and you look at the experience, right? Like, okay, wow, we're selling 1 case a month up in Bergen County. Now it takes our driver an hour and a half each way. Is that really worth it? Let's concentrate on our core. So, we pulled back. We made mistakes, and I think if we did that with a distributor partnership, it would ruin a lot of things. But yeah, we're gonna make mistakes along the way. We want to understand the whole supply chain. We want to understand the experience. We want to understand, what happens from the time we make the beer to go out to sell it, to deliver it, and obviously work with our on and off premise partners to make sure we have our process down completely as well before we step into any type of relationship with a distributor.
Absolutely. No, that's perfect. Well, Gary, I really appreciate you taking the time today. And I really, I say this a lot, but I mean it every time, because the people that come on like you, it's courageous. And the reason I need to tell you is behind the scenes, I get rejected a lot because people are like, I don't want to come on without any questions or prep. You're fucking crazy. And so it's my filter, and I call it an asshole filter, because you don't come on and if you don't know what you're talking about and without questions or anything like that. So you know your business, you're passionate about your business, and I'll also give you a commitment that this year I am trying to, anybody in the Mid-Atlantic region, I am trying to physically come out and meet everybody at some point this year that comes on the show. So I'll send you a message ahead of time when I'm up in New Jersey next time and stop by and shake your hand in person so that we can kind of keep this relationship going. And I want to invite you back for some other stuff as well. We're going to do some roundtables and some different topical things. And maybe we'll do something with alcohol and hemp in New Jersey, and to keep the topic on that, we can kind of have a 3-way discussion in multiple categories at once.
No, it'd be great. I mean, I appreciate the time, and this is wonderful. I listen to the pod all the time.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. So it's just great that, someone's out there, advocating for the industry, like you are. So would love to keep in touch, and I appreciate being on.
Absolutely. And hey, if there's any other guys, or breweries over in New Jersey that want to come on, please send my information over. You can send that link over to them. Because this year, with the last 2 months, we've done a lot with the hemp with the legislation. So I'm looking to go back in and bring some more breweries and start alternating through all the different bev categories. So if you have any buddies, I'm looking forward to some guests and stuff like that as well. So, but again, thank you so much. And I'll close out with what I usually do here, but it's true every day other than anything else, is when you're walking down the street, smile at a stranger. Everybody, as you're listening and watching, please hold the door for a stranger. When you're at the gas station filling up your coffee, ask the guy or girl next to you how they're doing today, and actually pause and listen to what the hell they say, because this world is beautiful yet destructive, and we are all in this alone in our minds, and in actuality we're in it together. So I want people to understand that there's no prayer and there's no questions. This is a completely organic conversation. Episodes that don't share because they know how. Start watching these episodes and listening and pick up some tidbits about it. Meet some people. Because Gary and I have never shaken hands or looked each other in person. So, excellent. Hey, Gary, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to getting to know you more over the course of the year.
Same here, Nate. Thank you.
All right, take care, buddy. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.